Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, my camera is too high. It's too high. I need to get a new camera. I'd like to, well, I'll show you this later, but I've got some ideas. But I think I'm going to need a new camera for it. Anyways, let's grab the links here. Oh, wait. It's supposed to tweet it for me. Let's see if it does it. Restream. Oh. Social alerts. Notify your followers when you go live. Oh, I have to put in the message. Update. Okay, so does it go to Twitter? It did not. I don't see anything, at least. Did it go to... Oh, wait, we need to open up Discord. Need to open up Discord anyways. Futures trading. Nothing in there either. Okay, well, we're just gonna come here and refresh. Grab this link like that. And there's that one. And here's this one. There we go. Morning, good morning. And, oh yeah, we need to fix this. Fix the, and then over here, pull up all the chat so that we got everybody all in one spot. Thank you for watching. Still getting comments on that video about Procter & Gamble. It's kind of funny. Kind of funny, guys. I think it's funny. Okay, good deal. Bring Twitch down like that. Or sorry, Discord down like that. Okay. Well, so we've had a little bit of a down move overnight. If I can bring this over here. ZN. Well, first of all, yesterday was a holiday and we basically did nothing. I mean, interest rates started a little bit higher, but they came back to flat. And now we've retraced it a little bit. Kind of same thing in the E-mini. We've retraced it a little bit. We're still higher. But we're at a really super key level here. So I think there may be the opportunity for more short. And we can see here, since the open, it's been pretty quiet. But they have been selling into this 11.5, and they sucked all of it up. So I think that there may be some more up movement. I don't know how I feel about 11.5 as a spot though, because it's very close. 12 and 12.5 are like the edge. So if we got 11.5 or 11, that would maybe be a little bit better. Need to not hunch over my microphone. Yep. Wondering, yeah, restream's being kind of interesting. Like it doesn't always see. It's not quite seeing everything at the moment, but. Good morning to all the lurkers. Yeah, I don't really see a reason for the E-mini to move a whole lot yet, but I do think. Oh, there they were at that low and that low. Okay. It's kind of the trend is kind of all weakening as well. Look at that. I think I want that. Oh, we should check here. First of all, we gotta make sure that we have the the squawk on.
Calendar as well. The estimate for a flat read there against a prior 1%, the range minus spot 8% to spot 5%. Just having a quick look at a note here from TD. They say they look for manufacturing sales to decline by spot 4% in November on weaker petroleum sales, reflecting a sharp drop in gasoline prices. Auto production estimates were also lower throughout the month. They say despite our forecast for a negative headline print, real manufacturing sales should post a modest increase in November, owing to a spot 8% decline in factory prices, which suggests a slight tailwind to industry-level GDP from the manufacturing sector.
Look like I'm missing this train. Well, I've got a good spot in line, I guess. There is Canadian news coming out here. Okay, that was the open, actually. I guess I started a little bit early today.
Block sell.
I don't like that. I think I'm gonna have to bail. Normally, though, I would be able to bail at 11.5. Let's see if they take it up. So you see, they bought, and then all that sold.
Block buy.
Very curious. Wow. This is getting exciting, folks. Already here on the open, we have seen two large block orders, a block sell and a block buy. Look at that. There was 7K on that offer, and they just burned right through it. Well, I think I got to be careful here because I do have an inclination that we're going to move up, but there are clearly one guy out there that agrees with me and one guy out there that doesn't agree with me, and I don't know which one of those two guys is going to win. Let's see if we get any pulling or weakness at 12. No. I'm going to take it down for a bit. There wasn't any big orders in that. Looked like mostly robots and retail. The 11 is getting weak though. There's a bit of size at 10.5 and 10. Not huge though, just 6,000. And I don't see any other like huge orders, although the book does look mostly buying. I don't know. It's close. It looks like it was mostly buying, and they've actually done some significant damage here. Yeah, that 10.5 pulling like that, that's not good. Nobody's selling into it. Odd. Looks like the 5-year is kind of driving it here. I think the 5-year might be doing a head fake. Hmm. That's interesting. Hi, Wrong. How's it going? Don't like that. The iceberg there at 11. Stops. Some stops at 11.5. Tough call. The E-mini has not moved out, so the E-mini may be the deciding factor here. Man. This is tense.
So 3 minutes then until the bottom hour and Canadian data for November. Manufacturing sales month on month looking for an estimate of minus 0.9%, and wholesale trade month on month looking for an estimate of a flat read.
They're showing weak bids and offers, but then quite a bit is trading there. Like there wasn't a whole lot at 11, and so I got out there because I knew there was going to be an iceberg, and of course 3,000 traded into it. But they traded through it, and now we're getting a bunch at 11.5 now. Now 1908 to trade through. I don't know. Now not a whole lot selling back. May have been a head fake of sorts. Hmm. Do we see something in
1
the
minute.
spread? The spread may be.
Ten seconds.
So Canadian news usually doesn't move us, but we'll see.
Minus 1.4% there for manufacturing sales month on month. Wholesales trade month on month coming in at minus 1%, and the prior has been revised down to 7% from 1%. Also getting Philadelphia Fed non-manufacturing firm level business activity index coming in at minus 2 in January versus 6.4 in December. Full-time employment index coming in at 9.4 in January versus 11.8 in December. Non-manufacturing new orders index coming in at minus 3.1 in January versus 17.5 in December. Regional business activity coming in at 1 in January versus 7.7 in December. And wage and benefit cost index coming in at 29.8 in January versus 30.7 in December.
Look at that. I think based off of what we just saw there, there's a pretty decent chance that we go for the highs of the session, of the overnight session. We might not even be able to get filled at 12.5. You see that at 12? How much stacked on top of it now? Yeah. Kind of tough because it can move away from you so quickly. Wow. There's just like no selling. That's a little bit too big of an iceberg there, though. You see that? Some orders took off 12. Take that one off too. Either they're going to go back into 12.5 and absorb some and then tick back up again, or we're going to come back over to this spot and I can get a fill. So nope. They're still sitting up there. I think you're going to see more buying. Oh, or it's a little bit of a sell. Yep. Yep. She's just gonna leave the station without us, man. See how much sells into 13. I don't think you can get a lot. I don't know if it's worth the risk here, though. I'm seeing like a really sharp move in the 5-year. And I'm worried that it comes back really fast. And I've already been kind of wishy-washy. So it might be better for me to just kind of stay out of this one. The E-mini is moving down a little bit now. Okay. See, it's awfully tempting to just buy into 13.5. So you could totally see it tick up again just like it did. Well, you've got a little bit more of a target there at 14. That's going to be harder for them to get over. And if they come to here, well, let me move that. Sure enough, though, they ticked up real strong. And everything that was there at 14 just, ooh, okay. Iceberg at 13.5. So they're going to go for a level break, I think. Well, the 30-year looks ready to just bust out. And ZB has moved up really fast, which for the knob to have been going up a little bit, and it has. Just, oh, actually, it's been flat through most of this. I don't know. In order for the knob to actually move up, the 10-year is either going to have to whipsaw out here, or the ZB is going to need to come back a little bit. You mean he broke small support in. So I still see unfinished auction at 2653 or so. Now you can actually see the size they're at it. Man. I feel so small here. Like they're just buying it like crazy, and I'm just kind of sitting here like, I don't know if I can buy it, if it's gonna keep going or not. I should have bought it at 11.5. I could be getting out and have a great profit, but I got scared out and took -1 on it. See, they're acting like they really want to take a step up, because there was a pretty big iceberg there in the 30-year too. That ticking down there in ZB, though, we should watch that, because if they start hitting into 04, that could cause a little bit of a change. Well, they ticked up for now. E-mini is seeing a decent amount of selling too. Granted, 500 contracts is nothing in ES, but you know, that's all they got right now, right? I mean, almost everything says buy. It's a little strong. Okay, so there's a really big iceberg over there in the 5-year. And they're putting some pressure on here now a little bit, I think. Let's just watch it. Wow. Nope. It just spilled water on me. I had my water bottle filled too full. Okay. That was some strong selling, and they did not get to the edge there. The 5-year came up too fast, I think. Like, I don't think that I want to stand in front of the momentum, but if it starts going the other way, I do want to take it, I think. Got everything set up for a pretty good trade to do it too. Okay. ZB is definitely selling here. They're below their iceberg. Five-year. Just barely, because it was at 065, 067, right? So now they're one tick below. It's selling into it. There was a 10K here, wasn't there? Okay. Put right here, there was interest here, by the way. Not quite enough to get tons of market selling here, though. But there was a sell at 13.5. Somebody stepped up and sold 13.5. They cleared it, in fact, with 1904. Then it ticked back up, and then they cleared it again with 456. Yeah, I think they're kind of waiting on him. Huh. Hi, Gabriel. How's it going? All right. Well, they did get us to sell
UK
at
lawmakers here
13,
propose
but
amendment to rule out no-deal Brexit.
an amendment to rule out no deal Brexit, huh? How does that work? How does that work? Then they just have to stay in the European Union forever until they get a good deal, which will never happen. I don't think that would. I don't. So you guys in the UK, you tell me, would that pass? I don't. Doesn't sound like it would. Like do Brazil. I don't speak Portuguese, unfortunately. I know a little bit of Spanish. I know a month's worth of Spanish. Okay, I kind of like how it's acting here at 13.5. Other than that, it's ticking up. Let's see what the 30-year might give us a good clue here. If they decide to hit into O2, or is that going to be a spot that they kind of hold? I know, pretty good. Do you guys have a good weekend? I guess for you, it wasn't a holiday yesterday. It was a holiday yesterday. And oh my gosh, it snowed so much here in the United States. I mean, it snowed here in Utah, and I was talking to John up in Ontario. He was saying that it was like -10 up there and snowing. It is. We're getting some pretty severe winter weather right now. Which is funny because I was kind of thinking that it was over. And I have this snowblower that I'm fixing, and I thought, well, I got it to work, and now I don't really need to mess with it. So I'll just wait until next season and then take it in to get it fixed up. And then it snowed, so we go to take it out, and the little cables that you use to like get it moving, like to engage it, broke in the middle of doing the driveway. So we had to shovel it by hand. What a pain, right? When I saw it, it was like there's like a spring at the end, and when I saw that the spring had just rusted and completely broken off, I was like, oh man, like it felt so dumb. Like, why didn't we take care of this before? See, they're bidding up at 13.5, but then they're not really holding it. But the ZB is going. I don't think that they're going to. It kind of looks like our short is becoming a lot less likely. Let's see here. They're going to give us a down tick. And there is some stacking at 14. There is some stacking on. Now they're going to try and fight it out. I don't know. This action honestly is a little odd. Okay. They had a chance to take it down there in the 5-year and they didn't go. See, we should see some more selling in ZB. My theory is that we're going to see more selling in ZB. I don't know if that means all three of them are going to turn down, but I do think that ZB at the very least is going to sell a bit here. Because if they want a steepener, and it does look like they want it, if they want a steepener, ZB is going to have to sell a couple of ticks. Well, the E-mini is actually buying here a little bit. So that helps. You ticked up, got slammed back down. Not a strong offer. I think if you see this flip, you'll see this flip. Okay. Yep, sure enough. Down tick. Pretty decent amount offered there at 13.5. Still market buying. Nobody's sold into 13. Okay, somebody sold into 13. Bit of stacking there. Okay. That 12.5 has pulled significantly. Well, I still don't think that they've gotten 13 to go off, or have they? Okay. It was 02 in ZB, right? Yes, it was. It was 02 that they ticked into, but didn't go. Interesting there in the 5-year. Let's see, there's a big iceberg at 062 holding it still. Okay. The downticks have been stronger. But that could indicate that there's a lot of profit taking here, but it could also just indicate passive buying. There's a big old iceberg there at 13 for sure. That delta, though, that's pretty. What's on my foot? Okay. The cumulative delta there is concerning. Well, still able to hold a bid at 13. It went offer there for a little bit. But they're still able to hold a bid, and there was a big iceberg at 13. I mean, that was a big iceberg. 5K. All that selling and then to not continue through. It's a little worrying. On the other hand, it is a good indication that we may continue down, and I do like where the E-mini is right now. Like they held those levels down below us, and they appear to be pushing up in the E-mini. Just a little bit of what do I want to say? I don't want to say distribution because there's not a lot of volume going through, but it's kind of hovering here for a little bit, and maybe they'll have another push. Yep, they ticked up at 13.5. Wow. And they ticked up at 14. But didn't go. That's interesting. This might blow off. Showing up. Oh man. Wow. Okay, so the 5-year is messing with things a lot here. The E-mini's going down. Okay, that sucks. I think on that one, I was just on the wrong side. Definitely people getting stopped out there. Well, we got to be careful about these bid icebergs, right? Because those have been holding things. No, 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 no. Too much. Too much. Now that time, the 5-year did get whipped up there, but the 5-year didn't really go. I think in this case, though, that you, oh yeah. Okay. After taking it 15.5. Right through it. Lots of stops at 16. Backed off there. Yeah. I think it's going to come back and go back up again. Ugh. The question is, how much is it going to come back? Still pretty strong buying. Mario Zien looking good today. Well, I got to say, I mean, I thought there was some strong trend, of course, on the way up. And I did take a short there that didn't work out. And then as soon as I realized what was going on, it just like really went, right? But I'm still seeing some behavior in ZN that is a little odd. Especially there when they broke the high, the way they came down 2 ticks and then came back up really, really quickly is a little... It looks kind of manipulated, let's say. The 5-year, though, is the one that looks like it's just going. And I keep looking at the spread. I keep looking at the knob spread and the FYT spread, and they're still flat. Even though we're at like huge support levels. And there's a lot of profit taking there at 15 for sure. If not somebody going outright short. The funny thing is that the E-mini is not going down. Even though we did that. So I do feel like that the E-mini is going to go up. I did take a trade long there. But I'm super suspicious. And now that I'm feeling like I should be going long, that might be right where they're going to flip it around. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big iceberg. This is not weakening in those 7 3/4. Nor is this 09. And they just keep buying into that. It's small guys. It's small guys buying into 15 too. These trade says he's looking to go short at 26.53 possibly, huh? Well, the movement that we're seeing in Treasuries certainly would support that. But again, we seem to be at a potential pivot. Like, I don't know if this is going to be able to go up and make a new high, especially now that there's 7K at 16. That's a little... Still buying it. They're still buying it, but they're actually starting to offer more at 15. Did the ZB tick down? Yeah, it did. ZB ticked down. How big is this going to be up here? If this goes to the high again, Or frankly, even if they just are ever able to get over this iceberg, you got some pretty wild divergences here in cumulative delta that are going to have to balance out. So you could really see people chase it. Well, the E-mini's still flat there. This offer is thickened up, but it's not causing really a lot of selling. This big order in the 5-year looks like really strong support. That's probably my best support right now. Okay. Another pretty big buy there at 15. Still not through the iceberg. Do you see this pattern? Nope, that is not a pattern. That is a virus. And we are going to gets held. You don't see it. I'm the only one that sees those, bud. I get hidden. Interesting that Restream sees it and YouTube doesn't, though. Okay, we did tick up, and look at how much they're stacking there. And there's a pretty good looking targets beyond the highs, especially in the 5-year at 09. Not seeing the E-mini sell yet. Just an 8K iceberg there. They absorbed a lot, selling back into it at 15 too. I don't know. That was kind of interesting. I don't like it when you have a tick up and a lot of stacking and then it ticks back down. But lately it's just kind of been what is the word? Flaky. It's just been really flaky, right? Yeah, if you guys want to post pictures, you should go into the Discord and post them where it will upload them into Discord and automatically show the picture for us. That's the best way to do it. Don't put them in YouTube. Nobody's going to click those links. Nobody even sees them. Yeah, I don't know. So that time the 5-year trying to tick down, but the 5-year is still just sitting up there. I guess 07 3/4 is, I guess they're technically at the same spot. Oh, 14.5 pulling now. That's bad. Yeah, that's really bad. And the big iceberg that was not the big iceberg, but the big order that was kind of my that I was leaning on is gone. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm paralyzed. The E-mini has not moved yet. Fuck. The E-mini has not moved yet, but they are selling. Just a little bit. I mean, we're talking about like 100 contracts, but they are selling in the E-mini. Ooh, look at that. There's an iceberg at 26.54. Not quite sure what to make of this now. The E-mini sold. There's an iceberg there. They ticked up. Ace trades did get short. 25. He got out of it. He didn't like that it came back on him. I don't feel good, guys. That fucking phone. Well, in retrospect, taken way too many trades this morning for us to already be getting to. Well, it's only been an hour and I've taken 3 trades. So I don't think I was being very patient or waiting for my spot or anything. And the E-mini is kind of coming up. They bounced right off of that iceberg. And it's certainly causing treasuries to come back down. If okay, so the E-mini had a really strong bounce off of 2654, and they've come right back to it. It's going to be interesting here at 13. Is a spot for them to possibly stop at? So few traded into 13. Let's see if buying comes in now. The E-mini is going to attack that iceberg now. They did it. Oh yeah, they did it. It looks all significant, but we're only talking about 1,000 contracts, if that. That's what's kind of funny is that the treasuries are reacting that much to it. And I'm not quite sure what is the cause of all this action up here, because it looked like really strong trending action and now it's not doing anything. It kind of makes me wonder if it was really just trading. Which means that it could go almost anywhere from here. Now, on the other hand, there could be some selling in the morning that breaks some key levels and they could just sell it all day. Nope, what's this? Big iceberg at 13. Really fighting back too. You know what, though? There's some big iceberg. Why do I want to say iceberg this morning? What the hell is wrong with me? There's some pretty strong offers up here at 14.5 and 14. 65? That's kind of too much. You know what else? They did not sell all that much to get down here. So we are still very high in cumulative delta. And they didn't make a new swing low. So this does feel to me like a good potential long. Lucky Meaty's going down towards lows now. Oh, that's interesting. Nope. They went down pretty low there in the E-mini, but we did not really tick up. So there is definitely some sell pressure on us here. I'm a little skeptical about these two orders. He ended up making French toast instead. See, there they are. They're ticking down now. Only one. Oh, it's so slow in the E-mini. I'm probably reading too much into this.
In equity news, Goldfields is said to want to merge with rival Anglo Gold.
Okay. Here's the open. Okay. No clear opening impulse. Pretty even. Okay.
Seeing a tweet here from Jennifer Rankin here saying Guy Verhofstadt saying the Brexit extension beyond the 2nd July is more difficult but doesn't rule it out as he has before. That is only possible in the case the UK can indicate for how long and what for.
Okay. So E-mini ranging back and forth, making it up to that high side now. There's a big 725 at 12.5 now. So it's getting thicker there. It's really thick. Not actually seeing a ton of orders in the 5-year, although it does kind of look like they might turn up in the 5-year. Okay, so that was a buy. That was a buy run. I wasn't particularly impressed with it, but there might be more in it. If they turn down, though, they get back below 2654 and it picks up some speed, that would be very, very bearish. We still get these big orders here. And here's my pen, by the way. Yeah, there we go. They did it. They took it there. Wow. Okay, now there's 2,000 pulled off at 14. I have to say, at the moment, the sellers look like in a better position, but they're not really pushing beyond this 2653 area. Okay. Yeah, see, they're ticking into it, but they're not holding it. Okay. Little step there. Almost now going towards the low. They're getting close to it. Treasury is not ticking up yet. Oh, they made it so close right there. I think that they're going to go for it.
Equity news: Liberty Latin America said in talks to buy Millicom for $7.6 billion. Said to plan deal discussions this week. But Malone said to struggle to win over the Millicom management on the deal.
And they're going to go for it. Come on. But 1-2 ticks short there. Lots of volume trading on it. Yeah, okay. And there, the treasuries tick up.
Seeing a tweet here from James Crisp here saying there seems to be not, in my opinion, a substantial movement on the red lines of the UK government, says Guy Verhofstadt, but we must also monitor developments in the House of Commons because there are clear attempts to shape an agreement or take back control on the whole process.
So there was an iceberg at 14, but there was 7K at 14.5, and there is now 17. So I was right. They completely pulled. That is extremely bullish for treasuries. And there was some liquidity there that they had to eat through. Like there was the 5K at 14, but they went through that like it wasn't even there. They went through that as fast as if there was only 500. They really bought that. Okay, well, even though we ticked up and the E-mini did go and attack that low, they haven't really they haven't hit the low of the session. That's still a good three points down. And they're actually kind of holding here at the moment, so It's super hard to see anything in my E-mini Vista chart because there was so little volume compared to what it was now, where it thinks that almost everything is an iceberg. Okay. I actually got a gap there in the 5-year. That was you don't see that very often, where there's the spread in any of the treasuries is more than just the tick. The spread in the 5-year was 2 ticks. Almost never happens. Right, well, the E-mini is still right at this spot at 26.54. There was some strong selling there, and then they equalized back. And now buyers are taking it to the high. Okay. And that's going to go for a new high. So a lot of absorption on that push. Sellers already trying to take it the other way now. Almost kind of interesting. It came from there to there really fast, didn't it? Like some of these other swings, like when it was down towards the low, it took it quite a while for them to finally decide, okay, fine, we'll go up. But when they were on the high, it was like up there for just like a moment, and they almost immediately pushed it back the other way. There is a decent amount being offered there at 13.5 now, though. See, those sellers are strong sellers. I don't want to speak too soon because you never know where they're going to turn around and take it off and everything, but they sure came back to that other side fast. My lips are getting really chapped. Look at that. New swing low. Easily. And with that, they're within striking distance of the overnight low. And you're starting to see some reasonably big bids below. And we ticked up at 14 again. and they're stacking at 14 and a 4K iceberg on the bid, and now they get an attack 14 and a half. Are they going to pull at 15? Okay. That's a big bid at 14. That's a big buy side iceberg there. I feel like there's a definite change in the action today. And if the market is in a new regime, that's not good for equities. So they're already peaked again. I think they're going to go down for that low now. Okay. I was able to bring my risk back to a more acceptable place. Another thing was that iceberg. It was actually above the point of control. So that was Wolf SD says they're selling the ES now. Yeah, they are. Well, they haven't really like broken them. You know, like they've made some pushes, and it really looks like the sellers are in control 100% for sure on that. But they haven't broken the overnight low yet. They're not to the point where like, you know, the sellers can just do whatever they want. It actually came all the way back to 2654 there. But for them to have come back to 2654 now and bounced off of it and be going lower is a very negative. Okay, there was a buy sweep there. Ooh. Okay, when it goes up, there sure are bids with it. I'm a little rusty, so it's kind of hard for me to read. Yeah, you know, having a holiday, well, Friday was kind of interesting, and then having the holiday and everything and it acting the way, you know, I think there's probably a lot of people having a hard day today. So there was a buy. There was a buy sweep. Is it pulling there a little bit? There in 04 in the CB. Does look like we are steepening now. Like the spreads are all in line correctly now. Okay, so they're right back to that swing low. The E-mini. Threatening it. I think there's a pretty good chance they're going to go for the low this time. Be super surprised they don't get that. Tick up in treasuries. Reasonable stacks. I'm not going to say strong, it wasn't like the 2000, but 1400, okay. Some profit taking there in 5 year. Okay. Push. Was that new low? I think so. Nope, it just equaled it. Okay, now that's new low. Well, man, you've got some deltas here to deal with in the 10 year. Looks to me like pretty strong buy here in treasuries that they could go higher. Like there's people to stop out up here. Okay, well there was a big well, okay, 1300 at the low. That's not necessarily unusual. The E-mini, we're talking cumulative. Done, my chart's all screwed up. Okay, look at that. There's actually still some more that could sell here. There's still more to sell in the E-mini. There's still more. Yeah, this is pretty negative. I think they're not. So the thing is that they haven't necessarily closed the gap from last week. Like 26.49 was like the close. Well, it was actually 26.47.75. So they haven't even actually gotten over the close. I think you might see that. Like, so here at 26.47, there's an order. Just looking at where the 10-year stopped, that is a higher low and pretty good momentum pushing us up. I think we could see more highs. 100%.
Just heads up, then just under 10 minutes time, top of the hour, get the release of US existing home sales data for December. Month of month looking for reading of -1.5% against a prior of 1.9%. The range between -6% and 1% for the absolute number. For December, looking for a reading of 5.24 million against a prior read of 5.32
good
million.
uptick.
With a range
Some stops into 16
million and 5.4 million.
There's some more. Okay. I think that the Treasuries stopped everybody out there. Well, there's somebody setting up an iceberg at 15.5 for a level break. So we may have a push to highs here. And notice the ZB is lagging just a little bit, because they are steepening, but they want to party too. Wow, 89. Oof. Well, that's not good. I don't think that would be a double top per se. I mean, it could be. I'm not saying that it's not going to go down, but there was more momentum on that one than on the first time that it touched that price level. So I think, yeah, there was definitely more momentum on that one. So it may not be like a true double top pattern, even if we do end up pushing down from here. E-mini's still down there. That's not a good sign when that many people are willing to trade it down at the lows. There's actually some traded into the low there again. Now there's almost 9,400 up at the high. Now they're at the low. They're going to break a new low. It's an iceberg at the low. All the treasuries are poised to maybe break a little higher. That's too much. You might see a big iceberg somewhere in at the low or the high in treasuries, and it holds it. I've definitely seen that before, and you can get a lot of liquidity. They can stop them there. But in the E-mini, that is usually not how it goes. They almost always get through those. Now, they might get through it and then exhaust and only have a few ticks past it, but to see it almost 1,000 at the low is unusual. There's an iceberg at 15. Oof. So the treasuries reacted there when there was a little bit of a buy sweep. It looks like some buyers are trying to overwhelm the sellers now. Question those is, do they have actually enough power? It doesn't look like they caught a whole lot there. I don't like this iceberg at 15 though. Holding here at 26.49 pretty well. That downtick in the E-mini really affected the 5-year. They didn't stay bid. You already said hi, wrong. You leave and come back?
Just a heads up then, just under 3 minutes time till the US existing home sales data for December. Month on month, look for a reading of -1.5%, with the absolute number looking for print to 5.24 million.
I don't know if I'm gonna get my price before 8 o'clock. And if they start pulling, I don't know. I'd really like to see them get through that 16. That's a really big order. I haven't seen an order that big in a long time. I don't think that it's necessarily, I think that there was, it was a big order from the highs and then they came up and robots put a couple there. I think that if we got up to it, that most of it would pull. At least half of that would pull. Well, buyers made it back up here and it's still being awfully, I feel ace funny. Okay. Big bid shows up in the E-mini and Treasuries tick down.
One minute.
I'm not really seeing pulling. Like for the news. I'm having a hard time here because I feel like this should be support and it came down there a little bit too easily. And now we're starting to tick back up, and so I really want to hold it, but I'm having second thoughts about it too.
10 seconds.
Okay. Still not seeing pulling for the news. So I'm just gonna hold it. On the E-mini sold there a little bit and we ticked down.
Prior revised 5.33 million. Month on month down 6.4%. Prior revised upward to 2.1%. Citrate US existing home sales coming in below estimates at 4.99 million. Prior revised 5.33 million. Month on month down 6.4%. Prior revised upward to 2.1% from a previous prior of 1.9%.
That selling there in the E-mini so far has not been as strong as it was on that initial push down. But the treasuries are seeing quite a bit of buying in it. Yeah. Pretty likely they go for the low again now. It's a pretty big order there at 13.5. When we came back up. And look, the 16, not as big. It's still slow going. I mean, the E-mini, just based on the price action and the way that they're threatening that low, it looks like that they're going to do it, but it is being slower now. And the treasuries are having a hard time getting above 14. If it goes, it may go fast. See that? There's a tick, there's a tick. Okay, now they're almost certain to do it. Treasuries, okay, now they went bid. Only 1,000. Didn't even hold it. There's an iceberg at the bottom again. It wasn't a good day for you. I'd have to say it wasn't a good day for me. Had that first trade was a good trade and I got rid of it, and that second trade was a bad trade. I may yet redeem myself here, but I'm still unhappy with how it's been going. And I'm getting really frustrated that, you know, I'm not getting, it's not moving up towards that high again in treasuries yet. I think it's going to.
Winning a Supreme Court patent fight with Hausen over the Aloxi. U.S. Commerce Secretary Ross to testify before the House Oversight Committee on March the 14th.
And it's frustrating to me that the correlation has decreased in treasuries. Although I still think that these guys might get whipsawed around a little bit. Like everything's happening where it should. 805. And we do tend to get a good trade in this time period. Well, there's lots of people watching. That probably means that we're going to lose. We've got 19 people. We've been getting more viewers, so new people. So welcome to the stream. Okay, that was a stop run. Wow. That one really just came out of nowhere, didn't it? You gotta be careful when you get a stop run. That's often a place where it will turn around, but because the way that one happened, I think that you are gonna see a lot of people double down on it now as it goes. So that was just awfully sudden. Like it looked like they were pulling back from it a little bit, and then all of a sudden, yeah, that was quite the stop run. Look at that. See, the sellers doubling down on it now. Trying to push it down for another push. And when I look at where we are in the volume profile, I believe that there is a very good chance now that we go to 2640. And yet, the Treasury is still not breaking a new high, even though I do believe that they will. Another push. And yeah. Still going. And that 16 at one point was 9,000 and now it is 6,000. When they tick up to it, it's probably going to be like 4 or 3. And they're just going to go right through it, I think. And somebody is iceberging at 15. And that 8 looks weak. Reversal on the ES will be when the bubble shows. Yeah, well, there's a bubble right there for sure. Those are what I was saying. It seems to me like in the E-mini that they almost always go through them a little bit, and then there's absolutely no interest at the price is lower. But look, the treasuries are still buying it. Look at that. Are they gonna eat into 8 in the 5-year? No. Take it down. If that level had a spiking move from it previously, is a good level with the bubble combined. And another thing though is is that you gotta stop run. Somebody's going to take a profit down at the bottom for sure. So the existence of the bubble in and of itself is not. I mean, it does increase the probability of it reversing there, but I don't think that it's enough of a signal for me to take a trade based off of that alone. Okay, now them hitting back into 14.5, that is a little bit more significant to me. Yeah, all right. Fine. Fine. Sucks. So we'll come back to where I would expect to see the pullback and it move back. Well, they seem to like 14. I guess the thing is you get the bubble you could have a short-term pullback. It doesn't tell us if it's like over, right? And I have to say that recovery that they made there in the E-mini was not the most impressive. Yeah, take a little profit only. Yeah, exactly. Like, you just got to stop run. You generally want to try and take a profit. Because a stop run almost always creates a liquidity vacuum behind it, which means that it's going to get sucked back up there.
Policies. If they do, I'm confident we can thrive together.
The sad thing was that we had that buy way back at 11.5. Could have just held that the whole time. Yeah. Mistakes were made. Okay. See, they're creeping back down there awfully easily.
Conte is saying relations with France remain strong.
I don't know if that order is going to get filled. That was a 2,000 on the bid there. You need to stop doing that. They're battling here again in the mini. Hmm. Okay. Well, they stopped just short of a new low there. And they coming back up a little bit. Shorts jumping on it at 26.45. Pulling at 13.5 is a bad sign. Yeah. Interesting. Wow. Okay, so there was a very strong buying impulse there that got faded hardcore. Hardcore faded. Wow. That has to be a new low. People are gonna get tossed around by that one so bad. Yeah, it looks like another sell is setting for ES. Well, okay, they're recovering. Okay, they made it back up to where that was. So maybe the buy takes hold. Oof. It's hard to tell because that could have been because of some news in a stock that we haven't heard yet. You know, that was a bizarre move. That was a bizarre move. If they can get back down to the 2644 again, then I think that you will start to see some buyers puke. But right now, this is raging seas, man. Holy crap. Okay, well, treasuries aren't exactly, holding a bid at 13.5, and that's not.
Lagarde saying Fed's patient attitude is positive for growth, making these comments in a CNBC interview.
Oh, there's a CNBC interview.
Geopolitics, Pompeo saying on North Korea made further progress when a North Korean official visited last week. Lagarde saying politics is negatively impacting global growth.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. Can't say who's going to win this one out.
Pompeo says believes at the end of Feb we'll have another good marker along the way with North Korea.
Okay. 5-year ticked up.
In emerging markets, Reuters sources Indian government likely to seek to raise about 800 billion rupees through estate asset sales in the fiscal year beginning April 1st.
See, that was a lot of delta long there. Today the numbers aren't huge. It feels like there's a lot of volume, but it's actually been pretty even, both sides, all things considered. So, I can see a sell coming in if they get back to 2644. I don't know. They're pushing highs there. I think I'm gonna get stopped out. Go ahead. Yeah. I liked that. I really liked that long when we had it there, and this just isn't working, guys. Something definitely happened there in the E-mini. Like, they're getting above now where we had that initial stop run. There was a little bit of an iceberg up there. There was that 5K that they were able to sell through. But then I thought that they were going to come back to here, and I guess it was just a little bit too rangy, and the way that the E-mini went was not in my favor. That last little move up actually happened on very little volume. Maybe that's why the treasuries aren't really reacting to it. I guess I hung on to these patterns a little bit too long too, because I thought they were going to come here and go like that, and now that they're not, the momentum is looking very negative in treasuries. Although that was a good uptick. Okay, so there's maybe a possible turn in the E-mini. The pit back up there. Think they're gonna continue up, guys. Think that seemed like really strong selling at the time. Yeah. Ooh, there's a big iceberg there. People in Discord saying that they don't bother with the ES, I think that's foolish. Because the correlation is a very, very strong indicator. Well, so how would I type this? One of the reasons why people trade Treasury futures is to take care of trades that they have over in the E-mini. Right? So if you're not watching the E-mini, you're missing half of the picture. Like literally. You can get a situation where, and I mean honestly, up here at the top, look at this. This trade is not. Let me put that there. Here's the E-mini. Here's Treasuries. Okay, now look. Okay, here we are. Coming along. Okay. So here we're at the high in Treasuries. What was happening? E-mini was pushing its lows.
And advanced talks to join MPAA.
And then what happened? There was two big icebergs at 15 half and 15 buying. Okay, so Treasuries actually wanted to buy. But well, I mean obviously there was market selling, but the passive buyers that brought it up there in the first place wanted more, it appears. And then the E-mini pulled back. Well, sorry. This is the pullback. Okay. We came back down here. And then the E-mini went down for a new low and we came back up here. Right? So how do you explain all of this up and in here? Look at the when this pivot is here, this pivot is here. This pivot is here. Right? And you could see it. Here, the Treasuries may just be going back and forth across the price. You might not see icebergs. You might not see any aberrations in the level 2. You might not see anything. But then over here in the E-mini, what do you see? Ah, big iceberg, big bubble. Right? So we knew that it was going to come back at the very least. And then it came back here, and when it did that, at that point, we kind of knew that the trade higher was maybe not there anymore. You know what I'm saying? The signal was here. When did that happen? That happened at here. Happened right here. At that point, you could almost know. At that point, we probably should have known that we weren't going to move any higher. Although I'm not entirely convinced that the mini is just going to be like gangbusters higher. I think that they may still want to touch.
Lagarde saying the Fed's tightening is not going to be as accelerated as initially anticipated.
They may want to see 2640. So, yep. TKO says yeah. That's why I pointed out if the bubble is there. Yep. I mean, those ones can be hard because when you're getting a lot of momentum, you can see those. And, you know, like right here is a good example where we made a new low and there was a bubble and then they went through it, right? And when they have momentum, they can do that. But then this time, it was good. And they came down and they weren't able to push down below it. And once we got to there, that was... Then you could take it long in the E-mini, frankly. Yeah? I don't know why I'm still in this. I'm just like depressed that I got it so wrong. So I feel that I was trying to the bubble must be red. I don't know. The thing about the E-mini is that you will get them both ways all the time.
The ECB had informal talks with Spain government over the BBVA spy scandal.
You know, it's very common for us to see iceberg here, iceberg here. So, if it's all red, that's for sure. But that one's like kind of rare. Yeah. Anyways, the issue is that if you have a thing here in Treasuries, I mean, there was buying at the beginning, but then ever since really what 13, ever since we bounced off of 13, have we really been? You know what I mean? There's been a lot of random movement in Treasuries. Well, listen, guys. I didn't say that TK was wrong. Okay, let's be very, very careful, because I don't want somebody to come and say, oh, every time that I see that bubble, that means that I should take a long. Okay, that would be irresponsible for us to say.
Taking a significant stake and is pushing for changes at eBay.
Right? When we see a bubble, that means that passive market participants on the bid and offer are taking up a lot of orders there. That's what that means. Okay. Some of them were on the bid side and some of them were on the offer side. And I've found that in the E-mini, you tend to get them on both sides. Although, so like here, this one was mostly blue, but look, 751 versus 1302, there's still going to be a lot on both sides, but then it might be like 60% selling, or in this case 60% buying. But yeah, it's unlikely that you're going to see one that's that extreme. Okay, but you're right that if you see one that's that extreme, especially in the ES, like we saw, well, I don't think we've really seen any like that today. It increases the probability of that bubble holding, for sure.
Radkin,
right?
Renegotiation of Brexit withdrawal agreement.
But I just don't want anybody to say, if I see a bubble and it's mostly red down at the bottom, that alone is a tradable signal. Okay. That to me, that bubble says to me there's a good chance that we're going to come back to 2647, and that's it. That's it. And again, sometimes they go through them. And actually, they go through them a lot. So you still have to read the context of the situation.
Asset sales at eBay.
Still have to read the context of it. Okay. No, you never trade only that. You need some structure or at least market profile analysis. Yes, exactly.
10-year bond here priced at 65 above mid-swaps.
It increases the probability of us stopping there for a pullback, and because you have a pullback, that increases the probability of a reversal. But the larger time frame things are still going to overwhelm that, and so you have to read the context of it. And frankly, you should watch the other instruments to see how they're behaving. I think that with that one, with the E-mini, that they went down for that low, and the treasuries were not pushing as hard that time. I think that started to become a hint that maybe they were done for a while. Totally. I don't care if it's moving because of ES or something else. If people are selling bonds, people are selling bonds. I don't care why. Okay, but people are always buying and selling, right? For every sell, there's a buy. Okay. how can you read into some sort of an imbalance what happened if you're not able to look at the larger context of why that's happening, right? Look here in where would we be? Okay, so like in ZB for right now, the ZB went a lot lower than the other ones, right? Why? Well, because they're steepening. Look, they're steepening. When we came down, ZB came down a little bit more because the overall action today in the spread is steepening, right? You could go over here and you could say, oh, look, there's a big sell in ZB. Or, well, my ninja just crashed. I think. Yeah, it definitely just crashed. Bum 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 ba-dum. There it goes. I think it's the cryptocurrency one that does that. Because I never had that problem until I connected it to Coinbase. Maybe I should turn that off because I just don't use it very often. Okay. Nothing happened. Okay, I fixed that. Oh, the E-mini is selling.
Synergy News, Reuters sources BP Whiting, Indiana refinery back to full production after the upset.
But you can kind of see where it's still kind of like the treasuries aren't entirely on board with it. So the correlation still seems a little weak and suspect. There was a tremendous iceberg at 10 and that's why it went down? Right, but you can only say that in hindsight. Right? How did you know? Look, they got through the iceberg at one point. Nah.
Block sell.
That was bad. I thought that there was a good chance that it was going to happen at 14, but I think that what just happened there was not in our favor, and I don't know what just happened in ES, but I think that it might be a bit again of what we saw a little bit earlier when we saw buying in this almost exact spot. So that's not going to be there. He pulled his... Did I pull my stop? I don't actually have a full stop on here, to be honest. Should probably be like that. But what I've been doing is I've been trying to see if I can jimmy around my position. It hasn't been working as well as when I was just straight up only one contract, isn't it? Anyways, don't get me distracted. Anyways, so if you see 1256 traded at the high, how do you know that that's going to stop it? You don't know. You literally, I mean, based on 1256, if you put, I've done this study, okay? I've done this study. You take it tick by tick. The way that I did it was I took it by price movement, and I looked at the cumulative delta for that one range bar. Okay, and then I said, if you see a situation where, yeah, I mean, this is going to get stopped out, almost certainly. Today is a complete. I mean, after this one right here, it was done trading anyways, and we're just messing for fun. But I would take it and I would say, if there was an iceberg of at least 1,500, or I changed it around a bunch, and I say, and there's not a whole lot of selling into it and whatever, what is the probability that it reverses there versus what it goes through? And you know what the probability was? Anybody want to guess? 50%. That's right. Iceberg doesn't tell you jack fucking shit. Now, if you get an iceberg and then they tick down at 09 and then they tick down at 08, at that point okay, well, all of the people that bought at 10 may be out at this point, but there's probably enough cumulative delta in this thing that could probably come back a little bit now. You know what I mean? So it can kind of give you a good idea of how far it's going to go. But I would just warn you, especially when they came up there that second time, there is a good probability that they go through that. I'm not going to say it's the majority of the time that they go through that. I'd probably say it's probably still 50-50, but there is a good amount of time that they go through that. Especially when they're absorbing 5K at 15.5 in the 10-year. But maybe that was just spreading. I don't know. It was kind of interesting that they did that. And of course, once they got through that, they were able to push down quite a bit more, weren't they? You got to be the icebergs. I've seen in our trading room, more people get fucked by the iceberg thing than anything else, because it's the most obvious thing that you can see in order flow is an iceberg. Like when you see 8K trade at a price, everybody saw that. Anybody that has any kind of order flow tool saw that. And so if you're taking a signal based on something that everybody sees, and you think that there's a strong probability that is always going to react in a certain way, no way. Definitely not. Something that obvious is not going to have that much edge in it. Granted, you can put it into a certain context where it's maybe not so obvious, and then you definitely can see them, right? But, so here are some of the contexts that I think matter, right? It's Tuesday. We're in the later half of the month. It's January. So January, there's a little bit more trading in January. But because we're at the later half of the month, it's not quite as strong. And it's a Tuesday after a holiday, so I think you're going to see a lot of trading, but maybe not necessarily in the Treasuries. But we've definitely seen a lot of trading in the E-mini. And the E-mini had a gap to close. Right? Those things matter, I think. Yeah, looking at 10 instruments that turn at the same time isn't an edge. No, but we're only looking at 4. We're definitely, I only say 4. You could maybe look at UB, and I would also, there's also some benefit in looking at the bund, the bund if you have it.
Trump planning Jan 29th, a State of the Union address, according to Fox.
I don't think that it's really worth having the DOM up for anything else unless you plan on ever actually trading those. Like they say,
Irish PM, in a no-deal scenario, we have a real dilemma.
There's a correlation with oil. There's a correlation with currencies, Yeah, but I'm talking like in context. That one at 10, for me personally, is I would take a trade off at 10, but I would not go short at 10. I would maybe when it doesn't go through and then it's at like 9 and 8, and if I can get a good position, then maybe I might take that. But I tell you what, you can get fucked up, especially this time of year, fading icebergs. All of them will give the same clues when they tour. It doesn't make sense. Well, that's not true either, because there was a sell side iceberg in ZB, but there was two buy side icebergs in ZN, and ZF I don't think actually had anything significant going on in it at the time, so they didn't necessarily give all the same signal. Am I misreading what you're saying there about that? But see, when I look at that, this is where I'm saying knowing what the correlation is matters. Okay. The one that is most correlated with the E-mini is ZF. Okay. They hedge themselves with 5 and 10 years, not as much 30 years. That's my understanding, at least. So if the treasuries are hitting lows, or sorry, if the E-mini is hitting lows and ZF isn't doing a whole lot of anything interesting, well, that's kind of a signal that maybe we're going to stop. And then if you know the spreads, well, the spread is buy ZN and sell ZB. So that divergence between the two of them in icebergs, people passively bought it, passively sold it. It's in line with the spread, right? So the correlation tells you, helps you put those icebergs in context to maybe say that one might not necessarily be somebody that's looking to do a level break. I thought at the time that it was, so let's not. I misread that. Okay, but afterwards we can look at it and I think that you could say that these icebergs didn't matter because they were just spreaders. Is there 4 components that move price? That's it. You may get fundamental influences, but it will show in the depth and volume. Well, yeah, so my point is kind of more that when you get a move, okay, and you say more people bought than sold, why? Why did that? In order for price to move, there has to be a change in the balance between the 4 forces. I mean, I like that you got the 4 forces, right? These 4 columns are the 4 forces, right? Passive buys, aggressive sells, aggressive buys, passive sells. Okay? Those 4 columns. But in order to make money, we have to predict a future change in those forces. Okay? So if I see a change in those forces, for instance, there's a bid, there's a little bit of buying at 12 there, and they're having a hard time getting into 11.5. Okay, so that's imbalance. That is a change from what it was before in those forces. Okay, but in order to make money, I have to be able to predict a future change in those forces, which would mean maybe 12 half and 13 pull, or maybe just a lot of market buys come through. How do I know if that's going to happen? What is the thing that I see that lets me know that that change is going to take place? Okay. Well, part of it is the change that you're seeing right now. If there's a certain amount of imbalance, it could lead to a reversal because too many people are selling at 12 and they're not going to be able to get through it and they're going to have to bail. Right? Those are the sorts of trades that we're looking for. Yes. The reason why you need to look at the other instruments is that iceberg might not matter. See how they just traded back down through it like nothing. Yeah. And the thing is that the way that the spreading is going, you're going to see people buy it in treasuries no matter what. So that buy side iceberg at 12, I wouldn't read too much into it. We only know that because we know the correlation with the spread. $8x book is probably tremendous. Yeah. Yeah. Well, but the edge, he says you don't predict anything. The only edge you can get is an entry edge. You have no clue if it will go 10 ticks or 10 ticks. You play the edge. Or right, but your edge is that the thing that you're looking at has a certain probability of changing the future liquidity balance. Let's call it liquidity balance, right? So it's not just the balance between buyers and sellers on the book, but also, or we'll just call it order flow together, right? You're predicting a future change in the order flow. That doesn't mean that you're always going to get it or anything like that. It's just that it has a certain probability of doing it. Is that a more fair way of saying it? Okay, then tick up at 12. See, the way that they're trading right now, I really couldn't say if we were going to go up from 12 or down from 12. I don't know. I think that me taking 2 lots is screwing me up because I'm not being selective enough about the spot. You know what I mean? Because when you look at like this first one in particular, I had it at 11.5 and I could have gotten it at 11. And then, I puked at 11 and it went up, even though I still kind of wanted to buy. And I had a buy order in there for the longest time. You know what I mean? I don't think that I'm getting the price right. Because here, buying was correct.
Okay. French Finance Minister Le Maire says Alstom and
13.
Siemens will not make additional
What time was it, though?
EU approval of that rail tie-up.
6:47 at 13 was correct. Or at least a tick. Buy it again at 13 was correct. Buying it again at 14 was correct, but I didn't take the profit on it. So a lot of this was also not taking profits when I should have. You kept wanting it to go higher, but you were ignoring the turn. Well, that's true. I I really thought that buying when they came up there to 15.5 was really strong. And I thought this thing right here in particular, that was really where my misread was, because I thought that was somebody setting up for a level break and then maybe move us higher, but that's not what happened at all. That was why it was going on. Like, the context that I was ignoring was that you're going to see a little bit more passive buying because of spreads. And as soon as the E-mini, pulled off and we came down 2 ticks, I should have bailed on that, and I didn't. Foolish. But I don't know. I think that if you don't watch the correlations, you're going to get tripped up a lot. If anything, the correlation is a good way to keep yourself out of a trade. Like, if I'm sitting here and I'm thinking that I want to sell Treasuries, and there's some setup over here in the E-mini that has a really good probability of going long. I mean, look, if we saw a big bubble right here in the E-mini, do you think you want to go long in Treasuries? Regardless of whether you see an iceberg here, don't do it. Don't do it. Because what that is
sell $35 billion in 8-week bills Jan 24th to settle Jan 29th, and $45 billion in 4-week bills Jan 24th to settle on Jan the 29th.
That's a big trader. Well, we're not getting a bubble or anything, so maybe they go for new lows in Treasuries. Look, and they put a little bit of an offer in there. It's going to be interesting if they go for a new low. But Treasuries are much further away than they were. But I'm just saying, that's a big trader that he's watching the E-mini and you're not. And he knows that it's a bad idea to sell or buy or whatever it is. And there's 4K. I don't know what it's going to do here. It seems like the buyer is coming back in again. But there's a big iceberg on the bid. But then I think we've still been saying that those ones, and especially since it's only in CN, might not matter. Let's see if it holds or not. It's interesting that his showed 3 bubbles, because I didn't know. I only saw the 1. Not even that. I don't know. I'm not going to take another trade because I got to walk away, obviously. But that was quite a... now you're getting some... So got to say, something else that I'm seeing today that I think was important and I saw, but I kind of didn't really pay attention to, was there was a moment there just now where the bid was evens and the offer was 02, and there was nothing at 01. You gotta go. You can see the 02 to 01. You'll see like a little dotted. It looks like space up in here. That does not happen very often. That does not happen very often. And that kind of means that maybe the major players aren't there today. The liquidity isn't being very reliable, and I think that's going to mess your means. That the kind of reads that I go for probably aren't going to be as likely. You have no idea what big traders are doing, neither do I. It's guesswork. Usually don't. This one is like, I'm not so well, the thing that I'm having a hard time with is that I'm seeing a lot of volume and I'm seeing a lot of icebergs, but then the price action to me doesn't seem to indicate that the big guys have any like clear position. And so maybe it's just that we've got two big guys that are kind of fighting it out. But so Ryan, I think what he's talking about is that sometimes you can tell based on the way that it ticks up and down what the big trader is doing, because what he'll do is at 13 you'll see them buy it up and then they bid 100 there and then somebody sold it, but then it held that time. Did you see that? And now it's holding. Okay. Now they traded down and they offered 100. So who's putting that 100, 200 on there? Well, some of it is people like me that are trying to catch the edge and think that it's going to go down, and they know that they can get filled there. So there's some people like that. But the ones that get there very, very first are usually robots. They have a bid there at 12.5 already, and they think that they might get filled at 12.5. They're selling 13 to get into it, okay? So when it's ticking up and down, I know, like this, I know that the fact that there's 1360 on there right now doesn't necessarily matter. But if I see it kind of ticks down and then it almost always immediately ticks back up, which is kind of what it's been doing, and they sell a ton into 13 and it still holds all of a sudden, indications that it's not just robots trading anymore. Yeah, only 4 to 13.
That's what you put out earlier, that Verhofstadt saying Article 50 could be extended beyond summer, despite MEP's reservations. It's getting a little bit more coverage, if you like, on Twitter from the likes of The Guardian.
At the moment, buyers have a little bit more control over price here than sellers do. It's not enough for me to take a trade, but that's just something to keep tuck. They can say whatever they want. Anyways, I hope that answered your question, Ryan. I think I'm gonna go back to one and just see, or actually just trying to go all in and all out, because trying to do them in at multiple prices is really fucking me up. And every time that I start doing that, I start doing poorly. So yeah. Anyways, I know we've argued a ton, but it's now my heart stops, so I gotta go. So hopefully tomorrow, Wednesday, is a good day. We do have some news this week, don't we? Yeah. HPI Wednesday. Flash manufacturing PMI Thursday. It might be, I think that we might see a little bit of action tomorrow, but it's probably still going to be a little bit like this. A little random. Anyways, I gotta go. I will catch you.